I'm going to go over kind of the basics of what to expect from the FE exam. I'm going to break down the different disciplines that are offered through the FE exam. Then I'm going to talk about how we're going to sign up for it and how we're going to study for the exam. And then the ultimate goal, why we want to go out and take the FE exam. So the FE exam is the first step to becoming a licensed professional engineer. And becoming a licensed professional engineer has a lot of benefits, which we'll get into later, but it can highly accelerate your career and your salary as well. One of the biggest benefits to going out and taking and passing the FE exam is that you become much more valuable to possible employers. If you're looking at two candidates, one that has taken a few internships but hasn't passed or taken the FE exam, and then you look at another candidate who has taken those same internships but has passed the FE exam, that candidate has essentially proven not only their engineering knowledge, but also that they are dedicated to learning and becoming a better engineer. So this can set you apart from these candidates and other engineering graduates as well. So now we'll look at the duration of the FE exam. So whenever you sign up for the FE exam, it's about a 6-hour long appointment. For the first 10 minutes, you'll do an agreement, and they will basically give you a tutorial on how to use the software that the exam is on. So you'll basically learn the ins and outs of anything that you would need to use during the exam. You'll spend about 5 hours and 20 minutes actually taking the exam, and the exam is split up into a morning and an afternoon session. In between these two sessions, there's a 25-minute scheduled break, so you'll be able to rest your brain and refresh for that next session. Also, all of these disciplines are all similar in length, so they'll all be 110 questions long. So now looking at some more benefits for passing the FE exam. Besides the benefit of becoming more valuable to possible employers, you'll also have the future benefit of having more career opportunities, more different directions that you'll be able to take your career in the future. You won't have this benefit necessarily right after passing the FE exam, but because passing the FE exam is the first step to becoming a professional licensed engineer, this will be a benefit that you'll have access to in the future. Also, not only do you have a kind of enhanced status with employers, you also have a leadership type role with coworkers as well, because they will look to you for advice and also anything that you would need to know about engineering, as well as just looking for a leader in the workforce. You'll have that position with your coworkers. And this can lead to having a higher chance to reach a leadership type position, such as a manager position or a boss position as well. Also, once you go out and you earn this license, you also typically earn a higher salary as well, which is a big bonus by itself. So now looking at the pass rates for the FE exam, these examinees, this is the first time that they've taken the FE. Also, they took this exam within 12 months of when they graduated. So just kind of eyeballing it throughout all the disciplines, it looks like they pass on an average of around 63 to 65% of the time. But examinees that are retaking the exam for, let's say, the second or third time, they passed on an average of around 34.7% of the time throughout all disciplines. So passing this FE exam the first time just shows what kind of student you were throughout college, and also what type of engineer you will be in the future. So now we'll look at the different disciplines that are offered through the FE exam. So there are 7 different disciplines that are offered through the FE, which are all listed on the right. These are just basically any type of engineering throughout college. Which discipline you take is based off what you studied throughout college, so your major, and also where you would want to take your career in the future. There are a lot of sections throughout these disciplines that are very similar, such as, for example, mathematics. So this can include all the math that you've learned throughout your college career, as well as ethics and professional practice. Each type of engineering has their own set of ethics, and so these ethics, you'll be asked about these ethics as well as different scenarios in which these ethics will come into play, as well as different types of engineering questions such as engineering economics or engineering science questions. So now we'll kind of dive deeper into the unique sections for each discipline. So the chemical exam is basically an overview of everything chemistry. You'll look at elements on the periodic table, as well as compounds and different types of reactions and the orders of these reactions. You'll also look at some heat transfer questions, which is included in that chemistry bubble. And also you'll kind of dive deeper into these different types of chemical reactions and basically how to use them effectively, for example, research or something along those lines. So now looking at the civil exam, this basically includes, when you're talking about geotechnical, you're looking at foundations as well as walls, making sure that these foundations are sturdy as well as flat. Also looking at transportation engineering, you're looking at anything from streets to highways, bridges, stoplights, basically making traffic flow as smoothly as possible while also preventing as many accidents as well. Also, you'll kind of touch base on environmental engineering, which is basically looking at environmental regulations, as well as any type of body of water that might be near something you're building, keeping that water quality, and also like groundwater and stuff like that, transporting it. So now the environmental exam is basically diving deeper into that environmental engineering section. You're basically looking at the science and chemistry that happens inside the environment, as well as fluids such as groundwater and different types of bodies of water, basically looking at the mechanics of those fluids and also how to transport them effectively. Now the electrical and computer exam is basically a two-headed dragon. You're looking at the electrical side of it, which has different types of electrical materials and the properties of these materials, as well as looking at different types of circuits, such as parallel circuit analysis and those along those lines. Also, you'll be looking at the computer side, which includes software development, which is algorithms, coding, web design, along those lines. And then you'll look at computer systems, which is basically how your computer is built. So you'll be looking at the architecture of the computer, along with microprocessors and interfacing as well. So now looking at industrial and systems, this is a lot of manufacturing and production. And you're also looking at service systems such as conveyor belts as well. And so you're essentially looking to make these systems save as much time and money, while also keeping these products that are being mass produced in as high quality as possible. Now mechanical, to the picture to the right is a tutorial kit for some mechanical engineering courses. You'll basically be looking at the dynamics of this mechanical design, as well as some vibrations that are created by the design, as well as the materials that go into the design, and basically you'll be analyzing different types of mechanical designs. And lastly, the other disciplines exam. This exam is basically a blanket for the rest of the disciplines. So a lot of the sections found in, for example, chemical or electrical and computer, these sections will also be included within the other disciplines exam. For example, chemistry obviously will be within the chemical exam, and then electricity, power, and magnetism, this will be in multiple of the different disciplines. Also, you'll see fluid mechanics, which we touched on earlier, as well as the dynamics of different gases. So basically the properties of any type of gas you'll encounter, as well as heat, mass, and energy transfer. You'll be questioned about that as well.